It's the Rule of Nerds.
And this is our review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen the movie, you might want to wait until after you watch the movie to watch this review.
Here we go.
Alright, so down to our review. Basically, I think a lot of people, the main question on their minds when they talk to somebody who's already seen the movie is, well, how does it compare to the first volume?
Yeah, okay. Guardians of the Galaxy was a surprise breakout hit. Nobody knew of these characters heading into the movie. These are obscure characters: Groot, Rocket, Star-Lord. But now that they have their first big movie, and then now we're going to a sequel, it's become a little bit different. The first one, I think, was very strong narratively. It introduced that world well. I think in this one they focused more on fleshing out the characters, giving them some emotional motivations. But in terms of enjoyment and humor, everything that the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise is known for, you get all that here. It's for me, it's just as funny. They go non-stop jokes with it, just like Volume 1. I would say that Volume 1 is probably a stronger movie. But if you're talking about just pure enjoyment, pure entertainment, sitting on a movie theater, eating your popcorn and having fun, I think it matches up well. How about you?
Well, for me, there was no pressure for Guardians of the Galaxy 1. They just tried it out. People were like, who the hell are they? And then it became a big hit. Now that is the burden of number 2, of Volume 2. How will it fare compared to the first one? Now, there were two things that I think they were trying to do. One, they wanted to give as many laughs and fun as the original did. But two, they didn't want it to become a rehash of 1. So they wanted to give it more depth. They wanted to give it more emotional punch. And but the danger was, if they made it all funny, people would be like, oh, it's just more of the same. Now, if they went a little too serious, they might get a little bit of that MOS, BVS backlash where, what are you doing? Why are you messing with the tried and true formula? Why are you trying to be too serious? I think the movie succeeded in both. It gave as much laughs as 1 did. You can argue more, less, just as much. But you have to admit, it delivered. But at the same time, it gave us a more serious side without really robbing the fun out of the film.
Yeah.
Even during the heaviest, most serious moments, they will crack a joke. So it doesn't go all the way maudlin. It doesn't go all the way, oh, woe is me. Look how sad and tragic and how deep the movie is. It doesn't take itself seriously, which is a good thing. So it never loses the fun. And I think on those two notes, they were able to successfully juggle those two things.
Yeah.
Fun, let's give them something a little deeper this time around. And they were able to give both in one movie. So good job.
Yeah, I think that element of fun, you can really see it when you see the end credits, because you have, while the credits are rolling up, it's interesting to still continue watching because you have characters dancing on the sidelines. You have some lines written as "I am Groot," and then they change into what it should be really saying.
Yeah.
Plus, this is the kind of movie that can get away with having like a billion end credit sequences.
Yeah.
Not every movie can do that, but because it's a fun movie, and that they're not taking it seriously and they like to skewer themselves, they can get away with really just overloading it with end sequences. So part of the fun really of a movie like this is having fun looking for Easter eggs.
That's true. And just before that, just to add a little bit, 2 has the job of like world building, because now that it's a franchise, now we have all these characters and people are wondering, is that it? Whoever it is that we saw. So there's a lot of reimagining of the characters.
Yeah.
Obviously, the star here is Star-Lord. We get to see his parents, and but all the other characters are given a new light. We have more lines from Drax this time around. You have Groot we're seeing a different version of Groot, not
Very
the
different
all-powerful Groot, but
Yeah.
a baby Groot. And then you have Yondu, who was just the villain / minor character. And then suddenly in this one, he is promoted into a major character.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is building a new world because it is now a franchise.
Yeah, I think it definitely did a good job of serving the characters.
Yeah.
We've spoken about this before. Maybe Guardians of the Galaxy, the first movie, some characters were tended to get underserved. You know, like Gamora or maybe even Drax, who. If you would look at the dynamic of the team, Groot is the obvious powerhouse of the team. You know, he's their Hulk.
Yeah.
So Drax being part of that, yeah, he was funny with not getting the jokes and all that, but you don't really know how he fits into the whole team dynamic if they already have Groot. But shrinking Groot down to baby Groot was not just an adorable little thing that they did. It also helped really let the other characters shine. Like you say, we have Drax, we have Gamora, who in the terms of the fight sequences, the combat, you see their value. And even minor characters, like you said, Yondu and even Nebula, who really helps flesh out Gamora's character as well. They're sisters, daughters of Thanos, obviously. So having that emotional core that they really built there really served all of the characters across the board.
All right, so let's talk about the Easter eggs. I think a lot of people who watched it, the first thing they do is they either go on Google or they ask some comic geek, what was that? You know, it wasn't as obvious as a lot of people would expect. Usually it's like, oh, it's an Avenger, or oh, it's you know, something that's very obvious. It's Thanos.
Yeah.
This time around, we were treated to 5 mid/post credit scenes, and the others are just regular stuff.
Yeah.
But 2 of them stand out. So let's talk about what those 2 were. The first one is obviously the appearance of, you thought they were just minor characters, but it turns out they're bringing back the original Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, the star, of course, here is Sylvester Stallone. There was a lot of speculation when it was revealed before Guardians that Sylvester Stallone will be playing a role here.
Right.
And it's very interesting to see what he turned out to be playing. He was Starhawk.
Starhawk.
Stakar of House Ogord,
Yeah.
if I'm saying that correctly. So obviously he's one of the major characters of the original Guardians of the Galaxy team. And man, did they cast it in a powerhouse way.
They did. Although it's an older, literally older version, because the original Guardians of the Galaxy was actually the Guardians of the Galaxy that I was familiar with.
Yes.
When they first released, you know, the version with Star-Lord and Gamora and Drax, I was like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Because the ones that I'm familiar with are Starhawk, Major Astro Vance, Martin X, you know, and apparently the Easter egg here is that, well, they are bringing back the original.
Yeah.
And the ones who were at least in the end credits, you have Starhawk, which was Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
You had Michelle Yeoh as Alita, although in the comic books they are supposed to be like Ranma one half.
Yeah.
The character is either
The female Starhawk,
or
yeah.
Alita.
Yeah.
They're never there together.
Yeah.
They're kind of like in one body, and one will emerge,
Yeah.
and then the other one will come out. Very Enchantress.
Yeah.
You know, it's either June Moon or
Yeah.
Enchantress. And then you have Martin X. That's the all crystal guy.
Yeah.
And then the role of apparently is Charlie 27 of who's the other guy?
Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames.
Yeah, it was
okay.
like Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames was either, they were saying either Astro Vance or Charlie 27. I initially thought he was Astro Vance because he's like the Captain America of the original Guardians.
Yeah.
But apparently, I read somewhere that he is Charlie 27. So
Yeah.
strangely missing from the roster is Astro Vance,
Yeah.
which is weird because he's supposed to be the Captain America of the group.
Yeah.
Actually, he becomes obsessed with Captain America and he ends up with a shield.
But the interesting thing here is in that little reunion that they have at the end, you see 2 other characters
Yes.
who aren't part of the original Guardians of the Galaxy cast. But they are actually characters from around the same time period. See, the original Guardians of the Galaxy, their adventures took place in the future, somewhere around the year 3000, right? So they threw in a couple of characters there. If you noticed in that scene, there was a robot who actually had a line, and you'd be surprised to find out who was voicing that character. It was Miley Cyrus. And you have another character there who was all red and CGI. Wasn't played by a specific actor, I heard. I may be wrong there, but I think it was pure CGI. But it turns out this is a character who turns out to be kind of like the Doctor Strange of that time period of 3000. So very interesting. They really brought this. So it's a throwback. It's really fan service to the fans who know their deep dive when it comes to comics.
Now we just don't know if they're going to have a bigger role in the future, in Volume 3.
Yeah.
But definitely the director has said that you will see more of them. We're just not sure if it's in Volume 3, because the director also said that this was meant to be a trilogy.
Yeah.
We don't know what he means by that, but according to him, after Volume 3, technically speaking, the Guardians of the Galaxy, this version, the one with Star-Lord and Gamora and Drax and Groot, their story is done.
Yeah.
So we don't know what he means by that. Are they going to be replaced by the original Guardians of the Galaxy? And then let's just go quickly to what Zoe Saldana said about supposedly leaking the super secret real title of Avengers 4.
Yeah.
Remember, it's Avengers 3 will be Infinity War.
Yeah.
And she referred to 4 as the Gauntlet.
Gauntlet, yeah.
So, but then, Marvel has said before that the title is a spoiler.
Yeah, they're keeping. So initially, we thought that Avengers 3 and 4 would be titled Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2. But since then, they've walked back on that. Avengers 3 will be Infinity War, and Avengers 4, they really want to keep it a secret because, like you said, I think it was Kevin Feige himself who said that it would be a spoiler. So what do you think? Did Zoe Saldana really slip? Is Gauntlet the title? And how is that a spoiler, if anything?
Two things. We all know that it's about the Infinity Gauntlet. So even if they switched it around, because in the comics, Gauntlet first, War second, even if they switched it around, it's not really a spoiler because everybody knows it's the Gauntlet. And
we've seen the Gauntlet in the MCU before, right?
And second, would Marvel really give the actual title to all these actors who can slip at any time if it's really a top secret? For all you know, this is the same thing that the Fox did with X-Men Supernovas, calling it Supernovas, when in fact they revealed recently that it's actually Dark Phoenix. Why not, use Gauntlet as the generic term for it, but they will surprise us later on with something that's really spoilery.
Yeah. So again, there are a couple more extra Easter eggs around there. You know that in the first movie, they had a post-credit sequence with Howard the Duck. He makes an appearance again here. You've seen that they put some more effort into fleshing out the character of Nebula, who might be playing a role either in Infinity War or in Gauntlet.
Yes.
If you've read the comics, you might have an idea why she'll be a major player. Or even if you haven't, she's a daughter of Thanos, so you know how it ties together. But also, one of the post-credit sequence in Volume 2 was the Sovereign, Aisha, was the High Priestess of the Sovereign. She created this new member of the Sovereign, and she just called it Adam.
That's
Who is
true.
Adam?
Of course, if you read the comic book, Adam is Adam Warlock, most likely. And although there's a little bit of a difference because in the comic books, Adam Warlock came first, and Aisha was he was originally called him, and then she was called her. She was the one who created second. So Aisha did not create Adam, but of course, creative license.
Yeah, it's the MCU. It's a different universe.
I guess it's safe to say, since we did say that this is a spoilers version, that this is the only allusion to Infinity War. We were expecting more, but apparently this is all they'll give us, that yes, Adam Warlock is definitely coming.
Yeah. Okay, so that is it for our review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. But we want to know what you guys think. Now that you've heard what we think, we want to know what you guys think. If you've seen it, please, comment section, let us know. What do you think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? And what do you think we've seen in this movie that will play a role in Infinity War. We really want to know what you guys think.
All right, so please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is The Rule of Nerds. Subscribe now. And also follow us on our social media. It's The Rule of Nerds on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Now, for our personal accounts, you can follow me at Chico Garcia on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And you can follow me at JM_Bolante on Instagram or just M_Bolante on Twitter.
Nerds out!